Today I'm going to be presenting a series of work that we've been, I guess, evolving since the business started. The word experiment is pretty accurate because it has been an experimentation from when we started. It's a collective of work that's both speculative and client-funded. And most recently, this series of work's been recognized in the States with a Webby, a one-show gold pencil, a Mobius Best of Show, and 2 golds, and a New York festival as well. And I'm going to kick the session off with a quick video that's just going to provide a little bit of context as to what this work's all about.
A Melbourne couple holidaying in Sydney.
The shock of their lives at Temerama.
The lightning strike appears to have missed the woman by a matter of metres.
Snowboarder using a selfie stick captured a bear chasing her.
The video quickly sparked horror and captured headlines around the world.
Сноубордист движется скоростью более 70 километров.
Video posted on YouTube yesterday has already reached more than 3 million views.
This close call was with a great white shark.
A lion seeking vengeance for the slaying of his buddy.
Yeah, you can't make up reactions like that.
Oh my God, buddy, you're hot! Come back, buddy!
They either animated the bear or got it from a green screen stock footage website.
Today, a small independent Australian production company, the Woolshed, has come forward and admitted it is behind 8 of the biggest viral hoaxes.
The Woolshed Company, an Australian production studio, released these videos and a handful of others like them to see what makes something go viral online.
Our next guest is behind some of the most popular videos on the internet.
From the Woolshed Company, live by Skype right this minute, Dave!
This clip is actually from the Woolshed Company, and we all know that they're famous for making viral videos.
And they're huge!
As a forensic pathologist for video, I say it's real.
We're really just a traditional production company, and primarily we make TVCs, online branded content. But in addition to that, we've carved a niche with this viral work where we essentially conceive, create, and strategically seed these viral video campaigns. And we've been able to repeatedly amass worldwide news coverage with them. And to date, we've accumulated over 320 million online views now. And we've done that all without any paid media promotion or distribution behind it. These are 100% organically seeded campaigns. And today what I'm going to do is talk about specifically how we go about doing that. And I want to finish on where I think the opportunities lie for brands to integrate with this viral content in the future. So we've created 15 successful virals to date, including campaigns with Samsung, with Roadshow Films, with Warner Brothers Studios, and more. And we've had this unique opportunity to develop, test, and evolve specific creative guidelines and also specific seeding strategies which have helped ensure viral success time and time again. And now, whilst I'm going to share with you some of the key insights that we've learned along the way, I want to be really clear. I'm not saying these are definitive rules to viral success. These insights and learnings are not the only way to create traction online. And for every rule that I share today, I bet someone can find a viral online that breaks it. And that's the beauty of the viral landscape. It's kind of a forever changing and evolving environment, and we've got to learn to change and evolve with it. But what I am saying is that what I'll share with you today has worked for us in the past, and what I am proposing is, whilst these learnings aren't the only way to achieve viral success, they certainly are one way. And finally, I plan to show you that not only can these results be replicated time and time again, but they can be replicated with brands, for brands. We've created campaigns for a consumer electronics giant. We've done it for a Hollywood movie. We've done it for an energy drink. And we've also done it for a sports club, a major sports club out of Australia. The figure 310 refers specifically to trackable, quantifiable online views that we've been able to find on the great expanses of the World Wide Web. And these numbers are things that we can track and record. And I want to kind of define that right now, just to provide a bit of context for the rest of the talk and when we throw around numbers. These numbers don't include things like views on media publisher websites that don't disclose their metrics, views on Facebook prior to them disclosing their view counts, which some of our earlier videos were released in that time, and things like TV broadcast audience estimates. In addition to the worldwide news coverage we've received, many of our clips have gone on to be licensed around the world for TV programming content and commercial TVCs, including last year's spotting Google Photos, which was the video we...
Okay, just like that.
Okay. Am I getting everybody in it?
I'm gonna take a picture this time. You ready?
1,
2, 3. Ah, I missed it. Do it again.
ready, set, go! Oh, Laura's holding up the Leaning Tower of Pisa all by herself. Dang it!
Take as many photos as you want without running out of space. Introducing Free Up Space. Never run out of storage again with Google Photos.
I also just want to define the word viral, and I'd be really curious to speak to people after the chat about how it's defined here. It's a word that seems to be evolving as much as the landscape itself. At some point along the way, in Australia at least, it was widely accepted as exceeding more than 1 million views in the first week of release. Then it moved to 1 to 3 million views in the first 3 to 4 days. Now some don't consider a video to have made any impact online unless it surpasses more than 5 million in the first 24 to 48 hours. But for the sake of today's talk, and given that this experiment has spanned nearly 3 years, I'm going to define the word viral as 1 to 3 million views in the first week of release. There are 3 kind of crucial stages in our campaign process, and they're going to seem like really obvious ones, but I'll explain to you what I think the kind of key point of difference is to traditional production. The first is concept ideation. The second is production methodology. And the third is seeding and distribution. And whilst these are really obvious steps in any production for a traditional TVC, branded content, the reason I point it out is because when we're doing these campaigns, it's absolutely essential that all 3 of these phases work in creative unison. And what I mean by that is that it's the responsibility of the creatives involved in the process to take all 3 stages of this process really seriously, particularly when it comes to seeding and distribution, as this phase serves as a vital extension to the narrative of the campaign. And I say that because often in traditional production, creatives will see through to the end of the production and then hand over the distribution and the media buys and the media campaigns to another agency. And when we're trying to propel something to go viral, it's interconnected with the story itself, and it's really important that creatives get involved with the process the whole way through. Also worth noting that we don't have a media buying department, we don't have a social seeding agency or even a PR company that assists with the release of these campaigns. We're a really small and nimble team, and we take responsibility for doing everything in-house, working direct with creative agencies and clients. So, concept ideation. The promise of the premise, or the hook, as we call it, is where it all starts. And the promise of the hook for any idea needs to be so compelling that you're going to click that link your friend tagged you in, you're going to push through the 15-second pre-roll ad, and you're actually going to watch the video. And you're going to watch it because you've been promised something that's worth your time, which we all know is increasingly more precious and valuable. And the hook needs to be concise, and it needs to be as clear as day. And what I mean by that is we need to be able to sell the promise in a title, and we need to be able to sell it in a single-framed image. And whenever we're developing an idea, we always try and funnel it down to those two things and see if we can envisage it. And then forget saving spoilers. Forget leaving the best bits of the video for inside the video. You've got to sell the hook up front if you want people to click through and watch it. A man fights off a great white shark. A guy runs into a tornado to take a selfie. A snowboarder chases a bear. A snowboarder gets chased by a bear, and a lion takes revenge on a trophy hunter. And finally, when it comes to the hook, it's important not to forget that if you're going to promise the audience something, then you've got to deliver it. Or the video won't take and it won't be shared. You've got to tell the people what they're going to get, and then you've got to give it to them. Build on proven quantities whenever you can. And what I mean by that is do your research, understand what has worked in the past with the audience you're trying to connect with, and then try and take that and build on it. Animal attacks are one of the most searched terms on YouTube, and guess what the #1 searched animal attack is? It's sharks. That was one of the first videos we ever made. It did over 45 million views just under 3 years ago. Bear attacks are up there. Lion attacks are pretty high as well. And so are hawk and snake attacks. Now, lightning strikes, a guy nearly dies by a tornado, a guy's taking a selfie by a volcano. Is there a built-in audience that wants to watch this stuff? And then how do we build upon it and make it better? Be relevant and timely if you can. We don't always do this, but we try if we can. And whilst this rule also applies to when you're seeding and distributing the content itself, it all starts with the concept. Virals come and go every single day. They live and die every single minute. So relevance can sometimes help to cut through the crowd and to cut through the noise, even if a little bit subtle. Although the example I'm going to give you right now isn't subtle at all. We did this video called Lightning Almost Strikes a Girl in Sydney. It's one of our most popular. It did over 70 million views. And this video was founded on the basis of relevance and timeliness. At the time of the release, there was basically storms raging throughout the Sydney area. And every day, the news was reporting on the same thing. There was another storm, there was more damage, there was more rain. So we figured, what if we could insert some fake news that ran off the trend of this and give the audience and the news publishers something a little bit more interesting to run with.
A couple has captured the moment. They got the shock of their lives at Tamarama. The tourists from Melbourne thought it would be romantic to go for a swim in the rain on Monday, but that changed in a flash.
Oh my God, baby, the bloody London bodies missed you. Holy bloody mother of God, Jesus.
The lightning strike appears to have missed the woman by a matter of metres. Thankfully, she wasn't injured.
And what we did with it as well is we cited in the video itself a specific location where we knew a storm had actually passed the night before, so that the news was able to correlate that with actual, an actual event. And short of someone being there to eyewitness it and say that it didn't happen, and we chose a really remote location to combat that, who was to say it wasn't? And that was, a really good example of relevant and timeliness. But you cannot always be that responsive, especially with a branded campaign. But that doesn't mean you just can't add a little bit of relevance and timeliness into your mix of ingredients. So this video was of Burning Man in the US, and we released it the day after the 2015 Burning Man Festival concluded. So obviously its release was relevant and timely. The idea was a guy was flying a drone over the top and it falls into a crowd, and we get a really cool insight into what's happening inside Burning Man. But the content, other than releasing the day after the event finished, also touched on the subject matter that was relevant and timely at the time, which was drones. At the time, there was a lot of debate, I mean, there still is, over the safety and invasiveness of drone operations. And having one fall from the sky into a sea of people, it gave the news and media outlets a story to report on that was beyond a quick insight into what a rave at Burning Man looks like. And it was that was the talking point that the news ran with, not people partying and getting a good look at that. Okay, so a guy falling down the stairs is a really cheap gag, and it's a really easy one, but it's a reliable one too. But how do you stand out from the crowd? We put him in a stormtrooper costume, and we released the video during the same year as the much anticipated Star Wars: The Force Awakens. We saw two really big jumps in the release of this very simple video, which went on to do over 8 million views. The first was when we released the video titled "Stormtrooper Falls Downstairs" on the way to Comic-Con, and the next was months and months later when we just retitled it "Stormtrooper Falls Downstairs on the way to Star Wars Premiere." Relevance and timeliness, jump on it if you can. Another quick example of that is this snowboarder being chased by a bear. In post-production, what we did with this was we added the girl whose mouth you could barely see humming to Rihanna's hit song, Work, and we included it in the title of the video. We did this because it was the #1 trending song at the time. It created another talking point for the video, and including it in the title helped us with Google search word rankings. And in the week that the video was released, this went on to reach #2 worldwide on YouTube's top trending videos, and Rihanna's actual Work video clip was sitting there at #1, which was nice to see. Create debate. This is hands down the most important learning that's worked for us time and time again. It doesn't matter if it's debate over authenticity, probability, acting ability, the quality of the visual effects. It really doesn't matter, just as long as you have it. Because it's debate which propels conversations, which propels newsworthiness, rewatching, sharing, debunking, and the endless comments, which in turn propel the ultimate success or chances of success of the video going viral. And again, this isn't a blanket rule for any viral video out there, but it is definitely one that has worked for us and that we've tried to use time and time again. The words "it's a fake" used to be a comment I dreaded when we first pressed upload on one of our videos. Now they're words that I welcome, because for every non-believer, there's going to be a believer, and there lies conflict. And conflict starts conversations, and so the propelling cycle continues. While we're on debate, I just want to touch on the news and media outlets that cover these stories. Debate over authenticity gives news and media outlets permission to run with a story that in their heart of journalistic hearts know they shouldn't. Because chances are the video they're reporting on is probably fake and it shouldn't be reported in widespread news. However, debate over authenticity provides journalists with permission that they need to run with an alternate headline. Instead of reporting, "In the news today, a man is nearly killed by a tornado whilst trying to take a selfie," news and media outlets can instead run with a more accurate and substantiated headline along the lines of, "A video was released today and is currently trending online showing a man being nearly killed by a tornado whilst trying to take a selfie. Debate over its authenticity has the world talking." Now, this is a true, much more ethical and accurate report, while still sharing with the world short, light, snackable pieces of entertainment that the public demands, and fortunately or unfortunately, news and entertainment publishers are forced to cater for. I want to run a quick case study. So the Hawthorn Football Club, I doubt anyone in this audience will know who they are. They're a Australian football league at the kind of elite level of Australian sports within our country, and they're known as the Hawks. And last year they made it into the finals, which is like the top of the top, and they wanted to celebrate it and generate some buzz and excitement, and ultimately sell more tickets leading into the grand final. So they the marketing team devised a finals campaign with the creative tagline, "Embrace the Hunt." And they approached us looking for an idea and execution that would kickstart the campaign by generating widespread media coverage. And the idea needed to encapsulate the theme, "Embrace the Hunt," and it needed to ingrain in the minds of the general public that hawks were on the attack. It was really important for these guys as well that the idea captured the attention of the Australian media with a particular focus on Melbourne, which is the Hawks' home city.
Oh, there's a hawk! 快看，有一只鸟飞过来了。
是鸟啊，鸟啊。
哦。
往我们这边跑了。 哎，到水里了，到水里了！跑，快跑！快跑！
We chose an iconic inner city Melbourne location to execute the idea to ensure that the local media ran with the story. That was our relevance. And we timed the release to hit the web 3 days before the above-the-line media for the Hawks marketing campaign kicked in, and that was our timeliness. This video achieved over 5 million views within the first 48 hours of release, and whilst it received worldwide news coverage, much more importantly, the major TV networks in Australia ran with the story, and the local radio stations talked about it all day long. One of the TV networks actually did a feature piece where they brought an avian and reptile specialist down to the scene of the crime to examine whether it was real or not, and they determined that the bird was fake, but the snake was legit. Now, in this situation, it was important to drive a direct link between the video that embodied the theme of the wider marketing campaign and the campaign itself. So the moment the viral hit its critical mass, we were already prepared to claim it, thus essentially making it a marketing stunt. And that's exactly what we did. So in less than 72 hours after the release, with just a traditional PR statement, we targeted local news outlets laying claim to the video, directly linking it to the Hawks' 2016 finals campaign. The Hawks were on the attack and embracing the hunt. The result, and this was knowing how the Australian media would respond to a stunt like this, all of the mainstream news outlets that ran the story ran it again the next day, revealing that it was a prank and tying it to the football club. The Hawks were absolutely the talk of the town the week leading into the finals, and this video went on to do over 27 million views. Production methodology. Now, when it comes to production methodology, you need to work within your means like any production. Budget, time, and quality is the usual battle we all fight. The one exception with this type of content is if you keep in mind that if the hook is strong enough and we accept the fact that debate over authenticity is not only tolerable but in fact welcomed, then sometimes it's okay to compromise and accept that production values don't need to be perfect. Many of the videos that we've made are of a production standard I would never allow released in our traditional broadcast content. But we know that the hook's strong enough and we're allowed to compromise maybe because of budget or because of time, and we know that we've still got a good chance of the content being taken. Keep it short. Our shortest viral was about 28 seconds long. Our longest was 1 minute, 38 seconds. Our average was 58 seconds in duration. Our learnings on that is keep it short. Make it entertaining, deliver the hook, create debate, but make sure you keep it short. Attention spans for this kind of content is so short. It's snackable, quick entertainment. So you've got to stick to that rule. And leave golden nuggets. This is a fun one that we try and do. You can do it unintentionally or intentionally. The idea here is respect your audience, appreciate those that take the time to delve into your production frame by frame to try and pull it apart, and leave them little golden nuggets. And the reason that we do this is because it makes it more fun. It helps propel the debate, and it just makes it more fun. Here are a couple of examples of ones that we've done in the past. In the Burning Man video, between the edit points, we included 2 single frames. The first was a bird feather, and the second was this. It was maybe a drone and maybe a bird. Now, 99.999% of anyone that watched this video would not have picked up on this golden nugget. But the 0.0001% that did saw it as conclusive evidence that the video was real, and they argued like hell about it in the comments of the clip, and that became the major talking point, was over its authenticity, and that became the major talking point that people fought to believe that it was real. It fueled the debate that we're always trying to achieve with these videos. This guy, I love this guy. He has a whole YouTube channel dedicated to debunking virals. I think he's debunked like 5 of ours.
Now we already know this video is fake because nobody would ever sing this song, ever. But for real, let's jump into why this video is fake. Now in the winter, bears hibernate. It's not completely unheard of to see a bear in the winter, but in the country of Japan, where this video took place, where black bears are starting to become extinct, this seems like it would be a very weird event to take place. The channel this video was uploaded on was created April 5th. Strangely enough, 2 videos were uploaded that day of snowboarding in the mountains in Japan. Then 6 days later, she uploads a video getting chased by a bear. All of their videos are monetized as well, so they applied for monetization with their 1 subscriber and 11 views on their 20-second snowboarding videos. They must have expected something to happen in 6 days, possibly this viral video. But how was this video done? Let's go through it. Other than the terribly fake bear sound effects that sounds like they're taken from freeanimalsounds.org, and then just carelessly placed under the video track without any audio mixing, there's many more ways to tell this video is a hoax. Let's start off with how they placed the bear in the scene. They started out with raw footage of the girl snowboarding, obviously without the bear. Then they either animated the bear or got it from a green screen stock footage website. Then after doing a 3D camera track, tracking the movement of the camera in all the scenes that the bear will appear, compositing the bear into the footage with some color correction, snow particles, you got yourself a mildly realistic bear chase scene.
Another case study, Samsung. Last year, Samsung and Christison, which is Australia's National Science and Technology Centre, partnered together to launch a campaign called Creators Wanted in Australia, which is an educational resource designed to show students how skills in science, technology, engineering and maths, or STEM as it's known, are becoming increasingly relevant across all industries and future career paths. A kind of tricky brief. And the purpose of this campaign, championed by Leo Burnett out of Sydney, was to help address the declining level of STEM skills across Australia by inspiring students who wouldn't normally consider STEM-related electives in their high school and tertiary education. They wanted to inspire people that would never think about enrolling in these kinds of subjects. And they did this by engaging 3 influencers that were champions in their fields across industries one normally wouldn't associate with STEM. So they partnered with a fashion icon in Australia who has a really successful online fashion retail outlet called Showpo, and has a really high profile in Australia in the fashion industry. Food with a MasterChef reality TV contestant, and sport with an Australian gold medalist rugby player who's got a really nice following in the Australian market as well. This Clever and Now Award nominated, actually the finalist at AdFest this year, Corporate Social Responsibility Campaign, had many levels to it, probably beyond the scope of today's conversation. However, what the campaign needed was a catalyst to launch. And being a corporate social responsibility campaign, they just didn't have a budget to do a big media spend. And so that's when the creative team at Leo Burnett partnered with us. And together what we did was we took their creative and we developed and evolved it through some of the methodology I've talked through today to come up with some concepts that we could apply our viral strategies to help create some noise for a campaign that had no media spend behind it. And so the Creators Project campaign aimed to show off STEM opportunities out there, even in the industries you wouldn't expect, like fashion, sport, and food. And they aimed to do it by releasing a series of videos that showcased incredible inventions in those industries that actually don't exist yet.
Adam, you ready? We're on. It's time. It's the moment of truth. All right, let's do pink.
Alright guys, I've been working on something pretty special, so fingers crossed it works. Wow. Qualcomm-Bush.
Watch this first kick go through. Nice work. This test ball's a bit like the other one. Just double tap that smartwatch we gave you.
Yeah.
It feels the same, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It's about
exactly
the
the
same
same.
weight. So just, line up your next kick and have a shot. Nice work, Charlotte. But wait. Now this is the fun part. Watch.
Oh my God, this
Yeah,
does
I know.
that.
It's crazy, right? Now just
Yeah.
wait there, it's coming back to you.
How did you do that?
Now if you walk around, it'll actually follow you and come straight to you so you can pick it up. How rad's that? Yes!
What? That is incredible.
How good is that? It's so cool.
This campaign then went on to lay claim to the videos, directing the focus of conversation with the help of the brand ambassadors behind them, to discussions around the future of those industries, to discuss how technologies like that could be possible, and really to try and get young students excited about the potential that they could play in the next phase of this technological advancement. That campaign went on to do over 20 million views, unpaid. So over the last 2.5 years, we've methodically devised, revised, evolved, reformed, improved, and excelled upon a very specific and strategic seeding and distribution process. And quite frankly, I don't like giving it all away. However, I do have plenty to say on it, so I'm going to give you a couple of key tips and learnings that we've picked up along the way. Release strategy, you absolutely need one. Assuming that you've nailed the concept and you've nailed production methodology, you've now completed around half of the battle. And I'm not talking about accidental heroes, the real virals out there. I'm talking about our repeated, result replicated, sure thing fakes. And a great piece of content still won't do anything but sit unwatched without a strategic and specific release strategy. Who posted it? Where did they post it? And why? This is really serious business. Obviously, with this type of content, you can't just post a video on a branded YouTube or Facebook channel and expect people to believe that it's real. You need to provide context. You need to provide context for the sake of plausible believability. Who is the person posting the video? Are they the one in the camera or behind it? Were they even there on the day? Why are they even posting the video? And are they posting it on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat? And why? These are all important questions, and they're important because the fictional character and anything he or she does in relation to the video forms an extension to the narrative that you're trying to impress upon the world as real. This is not the job of an outsourced social seeding company. This is the job of the creatives that are involved in the project. And the narrative of what happens once the video is released is as important to the success of the viral as the 1-minute video you've spent so much time carefully scripting and getting right. It will shape how you title the video itself, the language that you use to describe it, what information does or doesn't go into the descriptions that accompany the video. It will shape how the character responds to the media, even if they choose to. Who, where, and why, it's something that you need to think about and take seriously. You do not need paid influencers to have a successful viral campaign. You seriously don't. In some situations, they may help. In some situations, they may even detract from the success of the video. But what we know for sure is that they are not a mandatory ingredient to our formula. We've released over 15 videos now on 10 different source channels, majority of which had completely fictional character accounts with absolutely no pre-existing subscribers, followers, or audience. The only time we used ambassadors or paid influencers was in the case of Samsung, when there was a strategic reason behind it. You do not need paid influencers, celebrities, or YouTube heroes with huge followings to achieve viral success. It may help, but it's not a must. Finally, relinquish control and let it go viral. Don't try and control where the views go. Not right now. Maybe in the near future we can. 2 years ago we could. But in the time between then, our lesson has been that you need to just relinquish control and simply let the video go viral. Now, I'm not talking about what happens within the first 72 hours of release. There are critical, strategic steps that need to be taken over this period. But once those are done, you must accept that you cannot control where the views come from and you cannot control where they go to. Don't expect that you can force them to a predetermined social platform, account, webpage, or YouTube channel, because right now, it's really hard to do that. Not if you want it to go proper viral. If views and exposure are your goal, earned views and exposure are your goal, let it go. If mass media exposure is your goal, then let it go. I will quickly try and explain why. In 2014, we had 61 million views. 96% of them were on YouTube, on channels that we owned and controlled. We could earn revenue off those. We could redirect the traffic to other links. We could build an audience and subscriber base. The next year, that's 2016, the next year, 77% of them went to Facebook. And the year after that, it was pretty much the same thing. And not only did they go to Facebook, but they went to pages and channels that were not ours. They were other platforms, whether they were media outlets or other big platforms with big followings, who took the video, reposted it, and put it up. And you have no control over what happens with those other than letting it go and accumulate. And some of our biggest portions of videos, some are in the 10, 20, 30 million view range, come from people who've posted them up with or without our permission. Finally, there are some major implications with that and what comes with that, for brands and for creating successful campaigns in the future. 3 years ago, we could do things that now we can't. But that's the beauty of the viral landscape. It is forever changing and evolving, and we've got to learn to evolve and change with it, because I think there's so much more we can achieve. The work that I've shown you today is a combination of speculative work and work that we've done with clients. And the stuff that we're doing with clients and with agencies, we've only just started to do in the last 6 months, once we've had these proven case studies behind it. And that says to me that there is huge opportunity visibility on what we can do moving forward. There's opportunity to create smarter and more effective campaigns in the future, and it's my hope that working with creative agencies together we can continue to evolve with this kind of ever-changing, increasingly exciting, and quite frankly, incredibly addictive viral landscape. And just quickly, listening to some of the other speakers whilst I've been here yesterday and today, it's been really exciting to kind of learn about the Indian landscape and this kind of explosion of accessibility that's happening around your country. And I feel like this kind of work, partnered with creatives here, could take numbers like 200, 310 million to just another world. And I think that that's a really exciting opportunity. Thank you all for your time. Really appreciate it.